I actually wasn't planning on making this video today, but this morning, for some reason, I just suddenly came up with a set of random expressions. Well, maybe not so random now that I think about it. But anyway, so these are just some expressions that might come in handy sometime, okay? Right, the first one is get one's act together. Okay, so you might tell someone, hey, you need to get your act together. You need to get your act together. Or you can tell yourself that. You can say, I really need to get my act together. I really need to get my act together. And what this means is you need to stop wasting your time, stop doing foolish things, and start being more productive and start using your time more wisely. In order to achieve something, usually when we say this, we usually have a certain goal in mind. Okay, well, sometimes it's not such a specific goal. It can be any kind of general goal, like, I don't know, like, getting a good job or going into a good school. It could be anything like that. So get your act together. Get your act together. Again, so it means to stop doing foolish things, stop wasting your time, stop being lazy, and get your act together. Get your act together, okay? There's an expression that's very similar to this one, and that is come to one's senses. Come to one's senses. Come to one's senses. In the broader sense, this is very similar in meaning, but it has a slightly different meaning because it's often used when we are talking about a person who has realized that they have been wrong about something. They either made the wrong decision or they've been doing the wrong thing or doing something in the wrong way. And, they've come to their senses and they know what the right thing to do is. That's basically what come to one's senses is. I think I personally use this one the most. Of course, it depends on the context and the situation. But this one is a very, very commonly used expression along with the first one, of course. Let's say that someone has been doing something in a certain way and you know that the person was making a mistake, but later the person shows up and tells you that, I realized I was wrong and now I know what the right thing to do is. And then you can say, oh, so you've come to your senses, huh? So have you come to your senses? Okay, so this expression can be used like that. And there's so many expressions. There's also wise up. Wise up. It's used as a verb. Wise up. You need to wise up and do something. So you finally wised up and you decided to do the right thing. There's just so many expressions when it comes to this sort of expression. There's just so many ways to say it. But right now I'm just showing you just a few of them, okay? Okay, so the next one is kind of similar to the first one actually, but also very different. Get a hold of oneself. Get a hold of oneself. Get a hold of oneself. So you might tell someone you need to get a hold of yourself. Get a hold of yourself, man. Get a hold of yourself. Or, of course, you can talk about a third person. You can say she needs to get a hold of herself or he needs to get a hold of himself. Of course, you can tell yourself that. You can say I need to get a hold of myself. Now, like I said, it's kind of similar to getting one's act together, but getting one's act together is slightly more purposeful. So, like I said, in order to achieve something, you stop wasting time and doing foolish things, and you get your act together, okay? But getting a hold of oneself is slightly different in that it's talking more about getting control over your mind and your emotions, okay? And usually these things happen without yourself noticing. So when you're becoming mentally or emotionally weak, or shaken by something, and so you're mentally and emotionally scattered, so to speak. And so you need to get control over your mind and emotions so you're not easily affected by other events. And that's kind of what getting a hold of yourself means, okay? Get a hold of yourself. Now, similarly, very similarly to this, there's another expression. Instead of get a hold of oneself, we can say pull oneself together. Pull oneself together. I'm sure many of you have heard this one a lot. Pull yourself together, man. He needs to pull himself together. I need to pull myself together. Pull yourself together is very similar to get a hold of oneself. Okay? All right, one last one I want to show you really quick is get one's priorities straight. get one's priorities straight. Get one's priorities straight. Now this one is much more straightforward than the other ones, I think. You know what priorities means, right? Priority. So getting one's priorities straight basically means to understand and be more clear about what's more important, what needs to be done first. Because, for the majority of us, I guess, we have so much to do, but so little time. And, and we're emotional beings, So even though we understand our priorities, we don't always stick to them. So getting one's priorities straight means to understand and, be clear about what your priorities are, what's more important. That's what getting one's priorities straight means. So just like the other ones, we can tell other people to get their priorities straight. You can say, hey, you need to get your priorities straight. Okay, that's step one. Step one is to get your priorities straight. She needs to get her priorities straight. We can talk about other people, third people, and of course we can talk about ourselves. I need to get my priorities straight. Okay? All right, so I just wanted to stop by really quick and show you these expressions. They are very commonly used in everyday conversations. So I hope this helps. I'll see you in the next video.